My name is Matilda Reckford, and I work for the EHLS program at the Center for Applied Linguistics, and I'm joined today by Maria.
Hi, I'm at Georgetown University, and I'm the Director of Recruitment and the Program Manager there.
And by Leah.
Hi, my name is Leah Ashdam. I work on the EHLS program on the side of the Institute of International Education.
And we're thrilled today to be joined by former EHLS scholar, Wade Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here.
All right. So during this webinar, we're going to talk about the English for Heritage Language Speakers program. We'll talk about it briefly, and then we will be here to take all your questions. So please use the Q&A box to type in your questions that you may have during the webinar. And we will also have time if you want to raise your hand. We can also unmute you and you can ask your question live. So I'll pass it to Maria.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to do a quick overview of the EHLS program. So, intro to EHLS. EHLS is a scholarship program with a focus on professional English communication skills and career skills. The program trains advanced speakers of English to be effective communicators and strong candidates for federal jobs. It is hosted by Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Every scholar admitted to the program receives a full scholarship funded by the federal government. The program is 8 months in length. The first 6 months are full-time on the Georgetown University's downtown campus near Chinatown. The final 2 months are part-time, conducted online. Participants are native speakers of critical languages who have strong interest in public service. EHLS scholars come from diverse cultural, educational, and professional backgrounds, but they are united by an interest in and a commitment to public service. So let's take a look at the program background. So why EHLS? EHLS was established because critical language skills are in high demand in the U.S. government. There are other government-sponsored programs to teach critical languages to native English speakers, but this is the only program designed to prepare individuals with native language knowledge of critical languages for the federal workplace. And a brief background on the organization and the history. EHLS is a partnership among 4 organizations. The Defense, Language, and National Security Education Office, that is a long name, DELENCIO, is our funder, also known as NSEP, National Security Education Program. The Center for Applied Linguistics oversees instructions and coordinates language testing. That is where Matilda is. Georgetown University provides instruction, so we're the academic portion of the program, and that is where I am. The Institute for International Education oversees the application process, and that is where Leah is. EHLS started in 2006. 2025 will be our 20th program year, and that is so exciting. I cannot believe we have been going strong and we're better every year. And next year is going to be our 20th anniversary. Okay, let's look at the scholarship and benefits and terms. Scholarships for the EHLS program are awarded through the Defense, Language, National Security Education Office, DELENCIO, our funder. Each scholarship provides full tuition and fees for the 8-month academic program, in addition to a living stipend. And that stipend is $3,600 per month during the first 6 months during the full-time program, and then 1,200 per month during the last 2 months when it's a part-time online program. For scholars moving outside the DC area, EHLS can reimburse relocation costs up to $1,000, but you must provide receipts. Other benefits of the program are health insurance from Georgetown. And former scholars have said that it's a very good health insurance, and that is just for the scholar. If you wish to include your family members, that would be out of pocket to you. A certificate from Georgetown University upon successful completion of the program. And by the time you're finished with the EHLS program, you will have compiled a beautiful professional portfolio that includes a well-polished resume, writing samples, U.S. government scale English and heritage language test scores, and a certificate from Georgetown University that opens many doors. Scholars must agree to the terms that we have outlined here, and they are full-time attendance and successful completion of the academic program, agreement not to work during the full-time portion of the academic program, and that is January to June, and an acceptance of a service requirement after completing the academic program. So let's look at participant eligibility. You must be a U.S. citizen at the time of the application. So you would have up until June 18th, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to have your citizenship and then submit. I wouldn't recommend submitting at the last minute, but if you have to because you're waiting on your citizenship, well, so be it. You must be a native speaker of one of the languages listed. You see the 9 languages here. You must have a professional level proficiency in that language. You must have advanced proficiency in English, and your proficiency in both English and your native language will be formally tested. You must have a college degree, and that is at least a bachelor's degree. You must be able to use the internet, word processing programs, and PowerPoint. And you must commit to a full-time day program from January to June in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown University's downtown campus. And now I'm going to pass it to Leah at IIE to tell you about some important dates.
Thanks, Maria. So the application for the 2025 program or cohort is currently available, and it can be found on our website at ehlsprogram.org. The deadline for the application and all supporting documentation is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on June 18th. Once the application is submitted and considered complete, applicants are going to be invited for an oral proficiency interview or an OPI in English. OPIs will be administered through July 12th of this year, but we highly recommend submitting your application and scheduling your OPI as soon as possible to receive a time that works with your schedule. EHLS staff will notify candidates of their status in September. Some candidates will be provisionally selected to move on to skills testing. In late September through early October, provisionally selected applicants will complete language testing and a basic technology skills test. And you will also complete an additional OPI in your critical language in September and October. The EHLS staff will notify candidates of their final status in early November of this year, and the program will start on January 6th of 2025.
Great, thank you, Leah. So that's all for our slides. So now I will shift back the focus to us and to our special guest, and we will begin our Q&A. Like I said, please make sure you use the Q&A box in Zoom and type your questions. You can also lift your hand and we can unmute you. So uh, Wei was born and raised in China and was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years before she joined EHLS. She has since graduated and been enjoying a meaningful career as a linguist in the intelligence community. So first I'll start us off. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your career path?
Like you said, I was a graduate in 2018, and after listening to Maria's presentation, actually very surprised I got selected in the first place because that's a pretty high bar. So whoever is listening and is interested, let me just say that it's a great honor for me to be able to enter this program. And it is and also Matilda mentioned that I was a stay-at-home mom. Indeed, I was. I devoted most of my youth to my three children. Before that, I did go to college in Beijing, China, and received my bachelor degree in architecture from there, and came over to the United States to go get a master's degree in urban planning. So I was a city planner for a few years, entirely unrelated to linguistic work. But I do have kind of I guess, natural ability to talk and to speak multiple languages. So after graduation, I went into a private company while I was waiting for my clearance. And that took about a year and a half. But I really enjoy working in the private sector as a data collector and processor. So it was fun. It was fun to be able to go back to work after staying at home with children so many years, and so it wasn't really that. It was adjustment, but I really enjoy it. And from that point on, and so my current agency offered me a job after the clearance was done, and here I am, still in DC, and trying to keep in touch with my 2018 cohort. And right now I'm working as a linguist, and it's since I speak both Chinese, Mandarin, and Cantonese, I feel like that my work it's useful, and it's just in a small way I'm contributing to national security and helping other people. So that's kind of my career path, I guess.
Thank you.
Wei, it's amazing that you are also, I forgot that you are also a Cantonese speaker, which is very important right now with things happening in Hong Kong. So how amazing is that? How lucky we were to have you as a scholar. And by the way, everyone, Wei was an amazing scholar.
Oh, thank you.
She was great.
Thank you. I tried.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience as an EHLS scholar?
It was absolutely amazing. Like I said, the standard was pretty high. So you should expect that the people who came into the program are of very high caliber to begin with. And they all have like previous careers, and they have experience from other fields. So I learned so much just from the students themselves. But on top of that, the teachers at Georgetown, they truly, truly try to make you succeed. They want you to succeed. And I learned a lot. And I know I was, I mean, I'm an adult, and obviously had some ideas embedded in my head that it's hard for me to change. So my teacher at the time told me that, hey, Wei will change, but you have to convince her. And so they do everything they could. But then when I realized their intention was just so noble, and they have absolutely no other intention but to help you succeed, that I settled down and started listening to them and make changes according to what they said. And the amazing thing is once I started working, I realized that what they taught me was so useful, was essential in my writing and my presentation, and that just put me on a much put me ahead of other candidates that who had never been through the program. So just help me learn the stuff that I learned at work, and give me a starting point that's just amazing. Um, so I have so many people who come to me and said, "Well, how did you learn to write so well?" I was like, EHLS, I mean Georgetown. Have you heard of that place? It's really nice. So, I think that that's one thing I really want to emphasize is the teachers, they put all their hearts and soul into their teaching, and that makes a huge difference. Um, so, and it's a small class, so you get the chance to really experience a lot, interact with your cohort. Like I said, I learned a lot, despite being super busy with 3 kids and husband and just this is full time. This is full time, 6 months of full time work. And being a student, I was a little old to remember what it was like being a student. But being a student means that on the weekends you still have to work. On the night at night you work. When the kids are asleep, you work. So it was very intense. So to come in, I say with an open heart and open mind, you're going to learn things. You just have to open up and be willing to let others pour their knowledge into you, and also make connections. In fact, we the 2018 cohort just had a lunch last weekend, last Saturday, to meet up with a friend from out of town. So we still keep in touch. That is pretty nice, and just be able to. A lot of them have made their way through the federal government. You know, it's a lengthy process. Don't get me wrong, but they have made their stand and they made their way through. And so I think that EHLS definitely played a huge part in myself, in my springboarding from a stay-at-home mom to an employee again. So.
Thank you. Yeah, we have some questions in the Q&A box for you. The first one is, why did you apply for EHLS?
I I was a stay-at-home mom, like previously mentioned. So despite staying at home, I still keep in touch with the world, and I talked to my husband, who's also a federal government employee. We had a lot of conversation about work and stuff, and I think that recognizing that I have a language talent, kind of a knack in writing, and I really do enjoy linguistic work. So when I saw the program, I thought, okay, this is actually what I wanted to do. And the other thing I wanted to do is also, um, it sounds cliche, but really just make the world a better place, to make this, my adopted country, a safer place, because my children are here. They're gonna be here. They're Americans. I'm now American. So in a small way, I wanna give back to this country who gave me so much. So that's so EHLS is just a great way to refresh my skills and my knowledge, because I what if I just go out and write it on the resume saying, okay, well, what have you been doing the past 10 years? I was like, 10 years I stay at home with my children. That's not great, right? So it's not a very catchy thing to say. So but putting Georgetown there, that makes a difference. Now that shows people that, hey, you continue your education, you try to improve yourself. So that's the reason why I applied.
That's wonderful. We have a question about language tests. From when you applied, I know it was back in 2017. Uh, how was your experience with the English OPI and the English writing, reading, listening, and also maybe with the critical language with your Mandarin OPI?
Uh, I would say the English, I think the minimum, I can't remember the minimum, 2+, or I
Two,
can't remember,
two in
right?
English, yeah, two in English and three in the native language.
Okay. So two is very easy for me. I've lived at that point I lived in the United States for a dozen years. Marry a boy from Georgia. So he he's wonderful to me, and he was at the beginning of our marriage, anyways, and our relationship. He corrected me for some of the accents I had. And I never took offense. I thought it was he truly was trying to help me. So English wasn't that big of a deal to me. I think I got a three, but the funny thing with the Chinese is I only got a three because I wasn't familiar with the format. I wasn't sure what they're gonna ask me. So once I want to say for my personal experience, anyways, that once they figure out that you're a native speaker, they're gonna throw some really hard questions at you, and you have to be logical. You have to organize your answers in a sensible way for them to give you a higher score. So I was just walked in without any practice, pretty much. I was like, I'm a native speaker. How bad can it be? And I still got the score that I needed to get, but I wish that I had got, higher scores. Um, but anyway, but a three can get you pretty much anywhere. So it's just a vanity to want to get a higher score. But definitely take your time, slow down. When they ask you a question, slow down, ask for a couple of minutes, collect your thoughts, write it down.
Oh, I think you muted again.
We lost you. We lost you, Wei. We lost you, Wei. We lost you.
I think you're muted again.
Uh, yeah, because somebody's calling me. Anyway, so after the program, I felt like that if I take the test again, I would definitely be able to get a better score. But like I said, three pretty much gets me anywhere, so it doesn't matter at that point.
And Matilda, as far as a three or above, correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes the testers can only test to a three. So I don't know about your tester, but perhaps that tester couldn't give you you might have been more than a three, but all they could test to was a three. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely something that happens. Another thing that happens, and so I'm glad you kind of mentioned that it could be even hard for the native language test, is we have some native speakers of languages who failed their test, who didn't have a three, and so they couldn't get into the program a certain year and they had to apply again. So yeah, even if it's your native language, don't take that test lightly, basically. And like Wei said, prepare. And I think those were wonderful tips about kind of really focusing on having some structured responses, and taking your time. And then we have this one more question in the chat about whether you were able to find your dream job after the program.
My goal wasn't really that clear at the beginning, and I think that it kind of shifted after I finished the class. Because at the beginning I thought I really was gonna work with immigrants, maybe going to USCIS or Border Patrol. And some of my cohort people did go there, Border Patrol and USCIS, and they're having a great time. But after writing my paper, my OSAP, I feel like that, hey, I really enjoy writing and also enjoy the analysis part of things. So I kind of changed from there to go towards more of a intelligence community side of things. So and honestly, there's more challenges to be in the IC because the uh, polygraph and all the clearance and all that stuff. But I feel like the work it's rewarding. But who knows? I'm just kind of just enjoying what I have right now. So um I guess I didn't really start with a dream. I for me it was very much one day at a time. one small step at a time, because at times it's tough to balance life and work, especially during a full-time student time. And at the same time, you still have to look for a job as well. So that was very stressful, and I really didn't think about too much of it, and I just try to like power through and apply to different things. It doesn't have to be linguistic work; it could be other things too. You just never know. Your skill set could get you could transfer from other jobs, the previous jobs that you have.
Yeah, we have another comment that said that your story was very inspirational to them. And so you mentioned that applicants are very high caliber in terms of their previous careers. And so the question is about what are the chances for someone with a background such as yourself, something more career fluid in the past. So, I mean, in terms of the chances, that's that's the same chances as everyone is basically, we have about 150 to 200 applications every year, and 18 people make it into the program every year. So those are kind of the chances. Besides that, and the selection criteria and having a solid application. Um, but yeah, maybe you could speak a little bit as to how you think maybe your application was successful, especially with kind of your profile of having had a fluid career.
Sure. I always tell people, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. Because honestly, I was really a nobody for 10 years, staying at home, being basically advocate and champion for my children, which it's not for everybody, but I did it. And I think that benefit them a great deal, and in turn benefit me, because now they're teenagers and they're tough days. Um, and I can't imagine if I didn't stay at home with them, what would have been. But I guess they would still survive somehow. Anyway, so I remember when I put my applications together, um, the writing the essay, that part is super important. That's what makes you kind of stand out. And I think that one is that you have to have the critical languages the program needs and the federal government wants at the time. And two, when you write your essay, you have to think about why you're getting into this field, why you want to get into this program. It's not just something that would that you feel like, okay, well, I had nothing else going on right now. I'm just going to do this thing. You have to have a pretty specific something in your mind. Even though at the time I felt like that I was pretty open minded. I wasn't like set on a very particular agency or a particular job, but in general, I think I mentioned, the desire to make a difference and desire to help others and help this country. I mean, these are big ideas, but you can make it relate to yourself. I have 3 children. I see my children having a future here, and I want them to have a good future. And I can also see that my skills can be very useful to the government. So you have to emphasize those things. Have other people read your essays, and don't be afraid or offended to solicit advice. People would tell you what they think, and you find a few people that are they're professionals and they be maybe doing a certain higher level job for a while. Have them look it over. It's no different than a job application, I guess. In a lot of ways, you want to put your best foot forward, but you also want to be super honest and realistic. So, and like Maria said, that if you can't do it, you can't get in this year. This program comes back every year, and everybody's life is different. If you can find a job honestly without this program, all the power to you too. But I just think that if you are, it just so somehow that it works with your schedule, work for you with your life right now, this program would really, really help you. Um, Kind of all over the place. Yeah, my presentation teachers would tell me that, hey, you need to be more structured.
You answered the question. So, but and can I just chime in a bit? It's very important to be honest, as Wei said. And so you might have someone look over your essay, but you don't have someone write your essay because this is your essay. And you don't want to be in a position where someone else writes the essay. You get into the program and then you can't write. Okay, that would be horrible. So this is the time for you to shine, put your best foot forward. You could get some advice, but ultimately it's your essay and you write it.
We
Yep.
have a question about how easy or hard was it to get your current employment?
It wasn't hard. It actually came as kind of a surprise because when I applied to a sister organization. They went ahead and processed my application, my security clearance, and all that stuff. But then it was the another office that called me and said, "Hey, are you still interested after a year?" I so, but the hard part, I think, always with the IC is the waiting game. It takes a long time. No matter how you look at it, federal government just takes a long time. Um, Especially when you try to get like higher clearance and whatnot, it just and people still have to live right during that time, and that could put a lot of stress on you if you don't have something else going on or another source of income. So realistically, it wasn't hard for me because I was able to find something in the private sector right away. I started, I think, in August, even like right after I graduated, pretty quickly. And some people of my friends or my cohort, it took them a while, a few months. Um, it, like I said, it just nothing moves fast in the government. If you this is what you want, so but you can do what I did, which is find something in the private sector, just kind of time you over and wait. Um, it really it wasn't that hard for me. Maybe it's because of my language. Um, in the ability, just it just really depends. But it wasn't as definitely not as intimidating and hard as I thought before I joined the program.
We had kind of a follow-up about if you could speak more about your temporary job in the private sector while you were waiting for clearance and how you found that job. And
Sure.
yeah, if there's any assistance. I mean, there's a question on whether EHLS assists with finding temporary
Yes.
work. Yeah.
Yes. EHLS, the private company was one of the send one of their recruiters to EHLS. And if you once you get into the program, you know that Friday is when they get a lot of the recruiters come in, either from the government or from the private sector to come and talk to the students. And I met my first employer was one of these recruiters, one of these companies. So EHLS definitely played a huge part in this because I didn't know. I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't really looking. But EHLS staff, they connected us. They connected us to the recruiters and also told us to get ready for like our resumes, how to write your resumes for the private sector and the public sector, and also how to prepare for the exams and just to where to find these jobs and even like your security forms and all that stuff. Your teachers in EHLS actually is on top of that. So that definitely helped me. And um, both private and public employers that I have were through EHLS. I knew them through EHLS. So yeah, so it's crucial, crucial.
Amazing. Um, and then I think you kind of already addressed that, but someone was talking about what your career background was before EHLS.
I was a planner, city planner, uh, worked with zoning laws and also a lot of the planning laws. And if you're not really in this field, I don't know if people are aware of that. Like when you try to build something in a city, you have to get permits, you have to fit the zoning laws in that city. So that was what I did for a few years. During my time as a stay-at-home mom, I also volunteered as legal services centers. It was unpaid work, but I get to work with lawyers when they're doing pro bono work. And I think that I went to help with domestic violence, trafficking, immigration fraud, and that kind of, underserved community. I didn't think too much of it at the time. I was just helping out. When my kids were in school, I was able to like provide a little bit of service, but it actually helped me in entering the my actual professional job later on because I already have some of the linguistics services before. So take the opportunity. You just never know where it leads. Volunteering can lead you to some places as well, can help.
Absolutely. Yeah, we definitely emphasize that. Um, that's actually there's a good question about, do you have to tell your temporary employer that you plan to leave as soon as you get a permanent national security position?
Um, I'm in DC, so there's a lot of Bellway, what they call Bellway bandits. They are just private companies who are getting government contracts, and they are fully aware that a lot of their employees are just there temporarily waiting for contracts, waiting for clearance. And it's not much different from them getting and losing contracts on every few years. It's just nature of the business. Okay, so they understand. So there's this understanding that okay, they're fluid. They may be there a year, maybe they're a couple of years. I don't think you're not gonna have their feelings hurt if you tell them. That's my experience, anyways.
Thank you. That's a good point. We had two raised hands. Abdul, do you still have a question? Would you still like to ask?
Should
Hi,
I ask?
Abdul. Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you? Uh, uh, I thought that we are all on mute. So anyway, thank you so much. My question was about so still I am not a US citizen, but in the middle of June, I think, or at the beginning of July, we would be eligible to apply for citizenship. So how is that if I apply for the moment for this program and later on submit my document? Does it work?
You won't be able to submit. It won't take your application without your passport number or your naturalization number. You won't be able to submit.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe I can apply for the next year.
Yes, next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, but thank you. I think getting the process started this year of thinking about applying before you get your citizenship is good because yeah, applications take a little bit of time to kind of prepare and make something good in terms of the essays um so uh you'll be at an advantage next year when you apply because
Yeah, sure.
you'll have thought about it.
Yeah, but the top of also really it is a very interesting story. Yeah, from away. So um, I really enjoyed the stories.
Thank you.
Well,
All right, we also have Gracia. Do you also have a question?
Yes, I do. I have a question for Wei, but it seems like she disappeared. Is Wei still online? Okay. So Wei, this is Garcia Gufang. Thank you so much for your story. I really appreciate it. And I'm so encouraged by you as a fellow Mandarin speaker. You know, you
Yeah.
told your amazing story, and I'm the same way. I love learning languages, and I love the opportunity to improve my English and everything. My question for you is that you mentioned that the native language testing, you wish you could have done better. So can you give me some tips how to prepare for the native language testing? Like, what shall I do to improve and in order to get a better score?
Um, my point is to practice with another native speaker. Have them ask you really tough questions, like tough in a way that, okay, it could be related to a current event. It could be something that you have to convince somebody else about. Those are all like higher speech patterns and that they're looking for. Also practice your idioms. A lot like if you put out like a idiom or a very even if it's colloquial, like even if it's not super formal, but that shows you that you understand the language. Even like some poems, classical poems that you can memorize and put it out in some time in some occasions. I think that will help you. But the biggest thing is really just to practice with a another fairly well-educated native speaker. Um, just like you would practice your English with another English speaker is the same thing. I think that it just open up your mouth and talking to them. Have a short conversation. It doesn't have to be long, like 15 minutes. Because usually the testers would ask you about yourself, you know, you will talk about some of your hobbies and where you're from, and from there they will start asking you harder and harder questions. So the part about yourself that's easy, right? So you can describe yourself very easily in terms of as a native speaker or your environment, the city you live in, and stuff like that. But once they start talking about like the news, in my case, it was a little bit more politically charged question. I stumble, and because I never had to talk to any of my family members about that, we talk about food when I call my parents. And my sister, we don't talk about anything hard. So that was when that's when I realized, okay, well, I wish I had practiced this with another person. If you don't have a native speaker that you can practice with, I would suggest you just bring look at some latest news and read it out loud yourself. Bring back that muscle memory in your mouth and your tongue, and you can ask yourself some tough questions and talk to the mirror. Um, I mean, it sounds a little silly, but those are the things I thought about, and I thought, oh well, I could have done that. Um, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
That's really, really helpful. Thank you for all
good.
the tips.
You're welcome.
Maybe the week, those are great tips about having somebody to ask you hard questions. But I always tell people the week that you're going to have your heritage language test, I would try not to speak any other language but that language. And I would watch the news, I would listen to podcasts, I would watch movies, and I would totally tell everyone, like, Mandarin only this week. Mandarin
I
only.
see. Thanks. That's a great tip too. Thanks, Maria.
Great. We have a few more minutes, so I just wanted to share, encourage you to follow us on social media and see what future events we will have and different informations. And this is our contact information. If after this webinar you suddenly remember a question that you weren't able to get answered, you can contact Maria Mariani for any questions related to EHLS curriculum, schedule, and Georgetown facilities. And you can contact me, Matilda, for any questions related to OPI scheduling and language testing. And you can contact Meredith Shoemaker at IAE for any questions related to the application system. And I think someone in the audience, Sergey, just reached out to me about a question related to the portal. And so this is the address I shared, the IIE email. IIE can really help with any questions on like, I think in this case it was the reference hadn't received or was not able to use the link or something like that. So IIE will be able to answer this question for you. So yeah, we still have a few minutes if anyone wants to raise their hand or type any questions. Maria, do you have any questions for Wei?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about which class you think you most benefited from in the program?
Oh gosh.
And
I feel like
maybe there's more than one.
I feel like I benefited from every one of them because from Tim and Martin's class, they definitely have very different style. But I learned from both of them, and they teach the writing analysis. And even though I learned English as a second language, and a lot of the emphasis back then was on writing, but just they they taught me to look at things from a very how do you say efficient, uh, help me to write more concisely, more to the point, and of course the love and all that stuff. And that's just wonderful. And Tanya and Natasha, they taught oral presentation, and I mean, I may seem not to to not be afraid of talking in public, but I still get nervous. And so they taught me how to practice and really think about things in a structured way. Um, And for the professional development class, I mean, I felt like that I started from zero, and they built me up from like the resume and um, how to contact the recruiters, and I mean, I didn't know there's a difference between the federal resume and the private sector resume. I just like this resume is a resume. I don't know. But they helped me out with that and connected with some really awesome speakers that not just come to recruit us, but also taught us how their agencies work and what to expect when we do try to apply for them. And some of them are not really recruiters; they're just everyday analysts and employees. And so to be able to hear from their perspective, I thought it was wonderful. So I can't um, really tell you. And of course, towards the end of the program, it was close. It was getting pretty intense because we were all writing like crazy, right? We everybody was stressed out, and so I always we joked about this. We wished that we had another retreat, just like at the beginning of the program. That would be wonderful at the end, just for everybody just to get our mind off. But maybe people would be like, well, we really don't have time for this because we need to finish the project. Um, so I think I learned so much from every one of them. Um, I can't tell you which one. And I had so much fun too, just to um banter with all my teachers. They all have a great sense of humor. I asked stupid questions and they entertain me, and I made silly remarks. They let me know. So that was just a lot of fun, and I feel like that just by seeing how professional they are, that really helped me also build friendship with them. Make sense?
Thank you.
And how much time did you spend on homework each night and on weekends on average?
Um, it every night I want to say at least 30 minutes every night.
Okay, that's unusual because some people will spend like 3 to 4 hours. 30 minutes is you're a fast worker.
Yes, I
Usually
am.
people,
I'm aware of that. I am very fast. Even now,
because
I
most
am
people say
fast.
3 hours.
No, mainly it's because I couldn't. I have three young children at home. I had to cook for them. I had to care for them. I had to listen to them telling me about school. So I really didn't have the choice to. But I spent a lot more time on the weekends to try to focus on that. I think it's at least every Saturday. If I didn't have to use Sunday, I probably spend at least 4 or 5 hours on Saturdays to go through some stuff. And you get tired after a while. And some of the analysis work and reading, you can really go down a rabbit hole. And you can spend, I don't know, you will lose track of time. But for the most part, I was fast by necessity. And I mean, still to this day, I think I still run 100 miles an hour every day. Like after this call, I had to run back to office and finish up some stuff. So it's just life, right? So, but I'm glad to be able to, give back a little bit because I really enjoy the program.
And you were speaking about analysis. Someone just typed a question about how was your experience with the OSAP?
Oh, the OSAP was great. Um, maybe I didn't feel great at the time I did it, but my OSAP was so different. I think it was the very first time that two scholars actually worked on the same topic together, just writing from different countries' point of view. So I got to get really close to my Russian friend, who is a highly achieving type A personality, even more than me. So she pushed me along, and I think we made each other better. So the OSAP project was a lot of fun because of that collaborative effort. I mean, even in the end, we still gave separate presentations, but it was clear that we worked on this together on the same question. Um, so I thought it was great, and it was the funny thing is a few years, the years after 2018, after we gave that presentation, that question kept coming up, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, I thought about this question before, and it's so interesting to see. Um, Sometimes it's really nothing new under the sun to some extent. But then what I thought about and what we worked on still had implication on an impact on the community, and people are still thinking about that question. Um, so that I felt like I just learned a lot from that experience, definitely.
It's very exciting because sometimes the topics are things that won't be in the news for a year or two or even longer.
Right, right.
They're ahead of the news
Yep,
cycle.
yep. You're ahead of the curve, and
Mhm.
on the other hand, you also have a choice. There are so many topics to choose from. At first I wasn't sure if I want to do a collaborative thing. Um, because it just nobody had done that before in EHLS, and I'm knowing my colleague, and she's crazy, crazy good. I felt like that I couldn't quite compete with her, but it really worked out. And like Maria said, it was ahead of the curve, and I've seen that topic coming up again and again afterwards. I also have seen other colleagues, their topic came up too. So it was relevant. Definitely, the topic questions were very relevant.
And just to be clear to everyone, you don't always have a choice. So don't expect that you're going to be choosing your topic. It's what comes forth. And if it's a topic that's been designed for you, for your language, you will have to do it. You will not have a choice. And we're usually not that strict about things, but with this, we are strict.
But I promise you, your topics would be very interesting. You definitely
Yes.
would learn a lot from your
And
project.
in the end, everybody's so happy with the topic that they have. I have never heard someone say, oh, I just hated my topic. Everyone becomes a subject matter expert and they love their topic.
It's a labor of love.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, Wei, do you have any closing words? as we're getting to the end of the hour and you have to return to to
I
work.
have to return to my mundane or everyday work, but it's not mundane. I love it. It's great. I love my work. It's really meaningful. To be honest, there's a lot of pardon my language bullshit in anywhere that you go to, right? But I think that having a purpose, having a meaningful job, you can see where your job is making an impact. Okay, so even you may be it in government worker, be it in the private sector, be it the at Georgetown, all these teachers and administrators and y'all all making a huge difference in somebody else's life. And I just want to leave with everybody encouraging words that apply. You just never know where it's going to lead you. It definitely for me, it has led me to a very exciting. I've seen and done things you can only think that you only see in movies. Okay, so it's just this
That's
is
so
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, and but start from here and Georgetown, it's EHLS is going to be a great starting point for all of y'all. So I encourage everybody to apply.
Thank you so much, Wei. Thank you for being so inspiring. All the attendees said how inspiring you were, so that's so wonderful. Thank you,
You
Leah,
might,
also for joining us. Do you have any closing words?
No, not really, but everyone, I hope I see your application very soon.
Thank
Wei, it was
you.
wonderful to see you again. As always, fabulous. You are so fabulous. You make us proud. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
See?
you. Have a
Thank
great
you.
Labor of love. Labor. Right here.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Leah.
Bye.
Bye.